How's that measured?
I'm sorry, I'm not quite understanding what you're saying.
That last statement she said, that they could actually measure that the thought has an effect.
Oh, but probably I would think as evidenced by all the studies that they're
okay.
talking about.
Okay.
You know, she was saying there's so many studies that does this.
Well,
So,
Beth,
yeah, go ahead.
And when I was in at Holistic Studies, we had a Kirlian photography done,
Right.
which is where you actually can see the aura or the energy around someone's finger, for instance. So I remember it was really cool because I stuck my finger in there, and it was like, originally it was blue, which is a peaceful feeling, and then on the way out, we were photographed a couple of times, and I whacked my finger on the floor, and the next time it was all red. And then somebody did some therapeutic touch on it, and then it was green, which is healing energy. So it was really beautiful to see that change in the energy. And so Kirlian photography is one of the ways that it can be actually seen.
I remember when I was 8, I don't remember what the results were, but I grew little plants and I played music to some and not the others. So to see whether the music would affect the...
Did you,
I don't
remember the results of your study?
That was like more than 40 years ago. So
wow.
I remember doing that.
Right.
Bethany, I wanted to follow up. What's your name?
Ginger.
Ginger. There was a study done in Fullerton, California, where they got people to get their curling photographs. People that got along versus couples that were fighting. And they showed that the energy fields expanded when they got along, and they contracted when they didn't.
Yeah.
And the guy wanted to do that for his dissertation, and it was in the communication department. And the head of the program goes, "Oh, it's not symbolic. You can't do that." So they had to stop the study. But that was the first time to show that when people get along and you feel good vibes, it's actually happening.
Yeah. Right.
The fields actually expand into each other.
Yeah.
When you're in a situation, Ginger and I can get along, we can go out back and kick the crap out of each other. One way we're in harmony, the other way we're not.
Right.
And now we can photograph it. So when you're asking how do they measure it, they measure through effect, like how much growth, or they look at something measurable, photographable, like the energy field.
Right. That's what, right.
And even we did
Effects of it
a
all.
study too when we were doing therapeutic touch, where we had these groups, and each group had 2 people that we were working on. And one just had prayed about these 2 people that had some healing health problem, and the other group did visualization. Like if somebody had a problem with their lungs, we would visualize their lungs nice and pink, and then breathing easily and that kind of stuff. And the other group did, sent them therapeutic touch energy, and there were 6 people we were doing this with, and it didn't matter whether we prayed about them, we sent them therapeutic touch, energy, or whether we actually visualized their body healing. In every case, all 6 people improved, and 2 of them that were scheduled for surgery, decided not to have surgery. So it was really phenomenal. Just it wasn't a controlled kind of thing, but we all saw that there was this amazing effect.
And that goes back to the intention, because everyone was holding the same intention.
Right.
Barbara's work, though, I can't help to say, are the best books for
Right.
showing pictures and everything of
What
the
is-
energy field. Barbara Brennan.
Yeah.
Hounds
So-
of Light, and
yeah.
Light Emerging.
And it's important to do that, to really feed that critical left brain voice, to really, I've sat with this for 20 years. I'm basically a skeptic at heart, so it's why I needed research 20 years ago when I saw research, and I saw that physicians at the San Francisco General had done a prayer study. I kind of thought, well, I guess if the physicians at San Francisco General are considering God, I should, So keep it up. Keep feeding that left brain kind of thing, okay? Because it really helps enhance your belief and your understanding and your discipline in this work, because this is somewhat of a discipline. All right, so I want to share with you one thing about the peace experiment of the 10th anniversary of 9/11. Did anyone participate with this, with Lynn McTaggart at all? No? Okay. Well, basically, Lynn McTaggart, what happened was she wanted to do basically kind of 9/11, the 10-year anniversary of 9/11 was coming along, and she wanted to do a research study that would somehow kind of resurrect the Twin Towers in a different way. Okay? And so what she did was create this study where she was intending to have people on the 10th anniversary send peaceful intentions to southwest Afghanistan for 15 minutes a day for 8 days in September of 2011. So it was a Sunday afternoon, and she had people on the internet, and from all over the world, people got together on the internet to come together for this event. all of the Arab, I know, isn't that beautiful? All of the Arab countries were represented, and almost all of the West countries from the West were represented. And the way she started the whole thing was incredibly beautiful. And that was what she had was what she would say the Deepak Chopra of the East. His name is Dr. Salah al-Rashid. And had him and her talking online. And they did this mutual forgiveness ceremony where they asked forgiveness from their side, from the other side. And so she asked forgiveness from the East for our military involvement, and Dr. Salah al-Rashid asked for forgiveness for 9/11. And it was incredibly powerful. And then again, she led the whole globe into sending peaceful intentions to the southwest corner of Afghanistan for 15 minutes for 8 days in a row. And the reason why they chose that area was because they felt as though southwest Afghanistan was the place that both sides could agree. Both sides could wholeheartedly send peaceful intentions due to the war there and everything that was going on. And this one particular area was particularly having a lot of violence. So let's see if I remembered everything. Yeah, from Iceland to Brazil, California to Indonesia, and every Arab country on the planet sent peaceful intentions to reduce violence in Afghanistan. Participant, all right, 15 minutes a day. All right, I see that. Now, what they found was here's the month in 2011, September, October, November, and then this is compared to the year before. There was a 790% decrease in attacks in September, 500% decrease in attacks in October, and 400% decrease in attacks in November. Now, what is really neat is that the International Security Assistance Force, which is a NATO-led security mission in Afghanistan that was formed in 2001, reported this duration of time in September 2011 as the, quote, longest sustained downward trend in enemy-initiated attacks recorded by the ISAF. That means in the 10 years of the war.
Who's the enemy in this case?
You know, I always wonder that because it's the NATO, so it's international security.
Taliban.
So the idea, so that's pretty neat, isn't it?
Wow.
Yeah.
Right? So and the way that we're going to be doing this too. Notice how they didn't just look at the month of September; they look at a few months after. We're going to be doing that as well. Okay, right after that.
But what if you don't want to stop?
I know, right? I know. I wonder because next year, if we do this again, then what's our baseline? You know?
Yeah, well, we'll have to figure that out statistically, but it's not insurmountable.
Okay,
It's
that's
just,
good to know.
it's just a statistical blip we have to take into consideration.
Right. Okay. So essentially, this idea of being able to hold attention, because that's that's what we're asking people to do, is to hold attention for 15 minutes. And think about it. I mean, how else is peace going to happen unless people are willing to contemplate peace, to point their mind in a direction of it, and to hold the thought. As we always say around here, to hit the same note over and over and over again, to hit the note of peace over and over again. That's why I always talk about voting with our hearts. It's important for us to cast our vote. Intention is always happening. And you may not always feel like you get the results you want, but it is important for us to vote. It is important for you to vote what you know in your heart is good and true and what you're called to vote for. And it is important. It does make a difference. Okay? So you were talking more about what's coherency. So basically, coherency is an increased synchronization between the two branches of the autonomic nervous system. So, in your nervous system, you've got these two branches, the voluntary nervous system and the autonomic nervous system, which, when I was studying, it was called the involuntary nervous system, but we know it's not involuntary anymore, okay? But you call it the autonomic nervous system. Your autonomic nervous system is responsible for all things like digestion and things like that, your heart rate and all that. And then your autonomic nervous system has two branches to it, the parasympathetic, I guess I should have kept this here. You guys, this is a basic kind of biofeedback lesson. All right, here's the nervous system. We got the voluntary over here. We got the autonomic over here. The autonomic nervous system is divided into the parasympathetic nervous system and the sympathetic nervous system. Okay? The sympathetic nervous system is responsible for fight or flight. Okay? So the fight or flight, for those of you who aren't familiar with this kind of stuff, the fight or flight is how your body is hardwired for you to engage with threat. Okay? So it's this idea that back when we were in the jungles, we needed to have this nervous system that would prepare us to fight predators or flee from them. Okay, and so our nervous system has something called the negativity bias, meaning that if something is threatening, it goes right up through the nervous system to the prefrontal cortex, and if it's just a compliment, it might barely make it past your brainstem. But the idea, and this is why CNN is so popular, because it gets us right to that prefrontal cortex, right into the high threat. And it just keeps us there, glued there, engaged. Okay, that's the sympathetic nervous system. And what happens is when we let this nervous system run rampant, we get overstressed and disease and all that kind of stuff. The idea that physiological coherency has a parasympathetic nervous system dominance. Parasympathetic nervous system is when what your body goes into for restoration and healing. Okay, as Bruce Lipton says, you can't be in growth and protection at the same time. Okay. This is growth, kind of over here. Restoration, renewal. Okay, so we're in coherency. We have a shift toward parasympathetic nervous system dominance, and there's an increased brain synchronization between your heart and your brain, vascular resonance, and basically all of the oscillatory systems. So basically, your endocrine system, your digestion, all of it, their rhythms just work so much more nicely together. Okay, so that's what coherence is. But what does coherency mean to me, right? What's the bottom line? The idea that when we're incoherent, we have monkey mind, right? That racing mind that jumps from here to here. And really think about monkeys, when people say that, right? Is that, think about monkeys in the wild, and they're like swinging here and swinging there and up and down trees and hanging out, right? That's what our minds can do if we kind of let it go unguarded kind of thing. Mood swings, suddenly your mood changes, and if you're not aware, you won't even know why. And then also when we're in incoherence is we're thinking limited, depressing thoughts. Okay, if you get limiting, depressing thoughts. Anytime you think a limiting thought, you're heading right in the direction towards depression. So coherence is when you have more ordered mental processing. So you have this emotional life going on, but you're able to kind of ride the waves of it. Your emotions don't kind of consume you. You're kind of aware of them, and you've got your fingers on the tab of them, but they're not. And you can feel grief, you can feel intense emotions, but you don't kind of get so swallowed up in them. So you have ordered emotional processing. You're more creative and resourceful, something called cortical resonance. So you're able to retrieve creative thinking. So the question is, as we become kind of more coherent, and if we play with this and lead our nervous systems into it, do you want to come play with us, right? And so it's this idea of the Albany Peace Project. Our goal is that we're going to be meditating for 15 minutes a day for January 2014. Promoting intentions for peace in the city of Albany. Meditations will be streamed on the internet and recorded live from this nonprofit in Albany and other organizations to encourage participation. And Dr. Foldy is going to be measuring the changes in the number of assaults recorded by the Albany Police Department and compare them to the last 5 years. This is kind of an abridged program because I know Dr. Foldy is going to be speaking, so I just kind of moved through. Here's Dr. John. All teachery there.
It's me pretending to teach.
Yes, right, exactly. So he's currently teaching at the State University of New York at Albany, Schenectady County. Are you still doing SEC or no?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And continues his research on the Galileo holographic model of consciousness. He can be reached at, there's his email. If you go to the website and you sign up for the project, you will get a free copy of Dr. John's book, The Primacy Model of Consciousness. Ooh. Okay, yeah, exactly. So...
What's the email?
Pardon me?
What was the email?
JJ Foldy.
Yeah, jjfoldy@gmail.com.
Do we sign up at his website?
Well, if you could send it if you want to get in touch with Dr. John, that's the thing. If you'd like to get a copy of his book, you can just sign up at the albanypeaceproject.com on that business card that hopefully y'all got. And you can get the download there along with some other downloads.
Do you have extra
cards?
Yeah.
Absolutely. We'll give you more to give to people. On the flyer. Okay, great. Thank you. It's on the flyer as well. Thanks. So, but let me tell you, we aren't quite sure as far as what kind of results we're going to get, but I can tell you some things that we know. I do know if there are some people that have never done this work before that commit to it for the month, by the end of the month they will be in a different place. I've been doing this work for 20 years. This stuff works. People say, does biofeedback work? I say, yeah, it works if we work at it. Okay, this work, if you do the work, it can't not work. It's just the way it works. So the idea that, so let me tell you what will happen, and that is people's lives will change, okay, if they participate in the study. And what Liv Taggart did was query her people after hers. And this is what she found. And this is after the Sri Lanka experiment. I didn't tell you that for time because we didn't have enough time.
It's similar to the one done in Afghanistan. They took a particular geographical location, sent intentions, and made measurements of changes.
Yes.
Violence.
Yeah, okay, so quick. The Sri Lanka one was her first one, and she had people from all over the globe send peaceful intentions to Sri Lanka. The reason why is because it had been in civil war for 25 years. There were more suicide bombers in Sri Lanka than there had been anywhere on Earth. And nobody really knew about this internal civil war going on, and so that's why she chose it, because she knew it wasn't getting much attention. And so she had people send peaceful intentions for the month, and what happened was for the week, the death rate fell by 74%. I think injuries fell by 41 or 44%. And the 25-year-old civil war was eventually declared over within about 6 months or so. I think it's happened in September, maybe a little longer than that. But they feel as though it was a pivotal point in the war. And what happened was, really, there were these guerrillas that were kind of terrorizing the people. And for some reason, in that week, I don't know if they knew the study was going on or not, but for some reason, the military decided that they were really tired of these guerrillas harassing people. And so in the week, the military did this huge onslaught to the guerrillas. So actually, deaths went up during the week. Very fascinating. Go ahead. And then it seemed to be a pivotal point, but you can't really say for sure, we don't know. But it was a 25-year war. She did this week-long experiment. It caused all this kind of whatever, and within 6 months, it was declared over, or whatever.
Just very quickly.
Yeah, go ahead.
On to John. Just to give another dramatic input of how meditation and how powerful it is with the TM organization. Someone so philanthropic person donated millions and millions of dollars to fund a concentrated effort to turn the tides of world events, and they did. And during the time period that they did that, the Iron Curtain fell, the Berlin Wall collapsed.
I didn't hear that one.
During that period of time, those have affected world changes.
Right.
Just so you know how powerful it is.
Absolutely, absolutely. So all right, so let me just tell you what happened. So the people who participated in the Sri Lankan study, in general, they felt the love. 25% felt more love for loved ones or people they dislike. 41% felt more love for anyone with whom they interacted. 19% got along better with perfect strangers, and 44% noticed changes in relationships, notably between parents and children, in-laws, and siblings. Okay? So the idea, again, that we're going to contemplate loving and peace and kindness, it just, how else is it going to happen unless we're willing to sit with it? Yeah, go ahead.
In unity, we talk about that we're all one, that we're all part of God. So what I'm hearing is in establishing coherence of intention or coherence, that oneness, that we feel that oneness more strongly, and then that radiates out to the other parts of us, right. God, right. Who then feel it.
Right.
And that becomes a multiplied effect.
Right. And how important it is for us to own that, And the 9/11, when she queried the people who participated then, she gave a survey, and she had people that filled it out in Arabic. She had to kind of say, okay, they're from the East, and people who filled it out in English, they said they were from the West. It was just a gut call that they made. But after participating in the study, the Eastern participants reported 56 felt more optimistic that world peace is achievable. Okay, so the people who filled it out in Arabic said that they felt 56% more optimistic that world peace is achievable. Isn't that powerful? I mean, that's amazing, right? 25% of them got along better with strangers. After participating in the study, the Western participants, 70% felt greater inner peace. Okay, and 56 found a change in relationships with everyone with whom they came into contact. And this one's more summary of both sides. Inner peace, 66 felt more compassionate love. 50% felt an overwhelming sense of unity with other participants. 45% felt a profound connection with the people of Afghanistan. What I've seen, because I live kind of up north, and I also work in downtown Albany, and the people up north have no idea what's going on in Albany. And so I live these two different worlds. I'm like in suburbia, and then I come down to Albany and I hear about the shootings, and I see, and so the idea that I'm really passionate about bridging those two gaps, Okay, the people in suburbia should know more about what's going on right here within miles of them. That we don't, there's stuff going on here that we need their vote. Okay, they need to help encourage them to care about these strangers. 58% of Arabs and 66% of Westerners noticed positive changes in their lives. So in general, people reported getting along better with clients, ex-husbands, siblings, neighbors, even not so nice bosses.
Wow.
They noticed. That's the way she wrote it. That's what she wrote. I quote it. They noticed more awareness in their relationships with others and more clarity in their relationships with themselves. As one person put it, something subtle is implementing. Okay? It just shifts us on such a basic level. Large percentages of the East and Well felt more compassionate than usual and more connected with others. It offered a glimpse of breaching ideological divides for the greater good. Will it work? Let's find out. Right? Nothing to lose, I would say, except for stress, resentments, health issues, and unnecessary relationship struggles due to mismanaged nervous systems. That's the biofeedback person. Can our intentions change the world? As Dr. Foldy said, it is an important empirical question and one that we need to know the answer to, not just for us, but for generations to come. I am passionate about leaving these breadcrumbs in the forest for my daughters and for the next generation to know that they too can vote with their heart and make a difference. Aren't you curious? We need help. We need help. Did you hear that? We need help. Thank you. If you could help recruit volunteers, technical expertise, offer your suggestions, home practice meditation groups if you want to encourage, give presentations to your organizations, as Deb was suggesting, videographers, we desperately need some more videography, and marketing professionals, financial journalists would be greatly helped, and practice, and more practice. To participate, you just go to albanypeaceproject.com, click on how to participate. Oh, there's no longer a questionnaire. We have been video blogging to let you know about some things. Like, for instance, there's a phone app called Insight Timer, and I created a group on there for Albany Peace Project. So if you have a smartphone, go to Insight Timer. Mark and I just did a video blog on it. You go to the site, it'll be the first post, and we can create a group on this phone app. Now, you may think, at first you're like, well, why is that really fun? Or why would you bother, right? It's actually kind of fun. Because you got people, when you look at it, you see these little yellow circles of people all over the world meditating. And there's this way of kind of like sitting down with people and meditating together, even though you're on different sides of the world. And with the Albany Peace Project, I thought maybe we could have accountability partners. You know how it's like, sometimes you want to meditate and then you goof off, and if you have someone to check in with, maybe you'd be more likely to do it. So I created a group called Albany Peace Project on Insight Timer, and if you go to the website and go to updates, you'll see Mark did a great job putting up the link and everything. So, Mark, did you bring your guitar?
It's upstairs.
Okay. We gotta have you sing the song today.
Okay.
Mark wrote this wonderful theme song for the project. Every project needs an artist and a musician to really make it all pop and bring out the right. And so Mark has been an amazing asset.
Monkey minds.
What did you say?
Something about monkey minds? No. It was in the song today.
So, is it? Funny. And so we'd like to have Mark come up in a little bit. But Dr. John, you're up.